Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Titletown Sports Podcast. We are your hosts. My name is Craig Stanton.
I'm Melissa Burns.
What up?
And it is the first week of December. We have 3 teams in action.
I hear those same bells.
Yeah, we're all gearing up for Christmas in the Titletown studios, if you will.
Are we ever?
Nothing Christmas.
I heard an interesting stat. I actually read an interesting stat about the month of December. Do you want to know what it is?
I do.
I'm going to butcher it. But
Great.
in the Brady Belichick era, the Patriots are something like 44-3 at home in December.
Okay.
Their home December record is impeccable.
There's a lot of caveats to that.
Well,
anyway, we're going to catch you up on what's going on around town, and then we're going to step outside of New England and talk about some greater NFL goings on.
Yeah, we're going to get into this this whole domestic violence problem that the NFL has.
Yeah.
So enjoy that.
Yeah, good luck to them. All right.
Yeah, that's
Happy holidays. All right, everybody.
Enjoy the episode. Melissa, hi.
Hey, Craig, how are you?
I'm doing great. What a week.
Oh, man, so much happened.
Tons of stuff going on. People getting suspended and fined and dropped.
Yeah, teams playing, some winning. That's a nice
Patriots might win the division this week.
They could, yeah. Got a t-shirt and hat game coming up.
Is there anything that relies upon, or is it just if they win, they win? If they lose, they don't?
If they win, they win.
Sick.
Yeah. Because I know. The Dolphins have the second best record, so it would be them that they would be almost like kicking out of divisional contention.
Right, sure. Yeah.
Because they're 6-6.
10th in a row. 10th division title in a row.
Yeah.
Isn't that fucking wild?
It is kind of wild. It makes you forget how spoiled we are.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And
big time. And like each year, I don't really care about them winning. I mean, I care. It's just a foregone conclusion that they're going to win the division. But like when you look at it, like 10 years in a row, it's like
death taxes and the Patriots winning the division.
You know what sucks? I was talking about this the other day. That's good point. The fucking Brady, like we're in a situation now where Brady breaks a fucking record every time he steps on the field. Like he did it again last week, the 1,000 yards rushing or whatever. That's not a record, but it's just a milestone.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Well, it might be a record how long it took him to get to 1,000 yards.
True. That's a good point. So I was reminded about how much of a jam up that 2009 year is.
Yeah.
And if you remember, not to like bore you, myself, and all the listeners with like a fucking history lesson, but like 2008, the year Brady tears his ACL.
Yeah.
And Matt Castle takes over. The fucking Pats go 10-6. And if Brett freaking Favre and the New York Jets were able to win a home game against the Dolphins in week 17 of that year, the Patriots would have gone to the playoffs as a wildcard team, thus stringing together like the pre-ACL and the post-ACL era. Because that was basically the halfway point of Tom Brady's career, more or less. Like with a playoff run at least. So like all these like longevity to like, 8 years in a row, 9 years in a row, 10 years in a row. Like it's all the cutoff point is that one fucking season that they missed the playoffs because Brady tore his knee up.
We have our own like BC and AC timeline.
They were 10-6. It's not like they were bad.
Yeah, they didn't even. It's not like they went 5-11. Like they didn't even turn into complete scrubs.
No,
not
even close. A 10-6 team really should be in the playoffs. Anyways, I digress. Should we get caught up?
Should we talk about the current Patriots team?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Why don't you tell us?
I'm
about
all
them?
jazzed. Yeah, let me just get in there.
Jacked up. So why don't you just get going here?
So the New England Patriots had a big win at home against the Minnesota Vikings last week. They won 24-10 and really pulled ahead in the second half. This game saw 2 touchdowns by fullback James Devlin, of all freaking people. And it certainly lends credence to the Patriot way and the idea that anyone and everyone can contribute to the offense, and you never know where they're going to get points from.
Yeah, I say that because I never play the stupid Patriots in fucking DraftKings because they'll always hose you.
Yeah, pretty much. It's a good strategy to avoid that team.
It makes me angry. Keep going. On a personal note.
Pats this week are going to head down to Miami to play the Dolphins. This is a notoriously difficult road game for them, and hopefully they keep the wins coming and finish out the season strong. They do, like we just said, have a chance to clinch the yet another division, I believe. Mm-hmm. Would be the 10th in a row.
Yeah.
Which they'll inevitably clinch anyways. Whether or not they do it on Sunday is a separate question, but we'll see.
Well, it's important. They have a pretty the road from here is pretty simple. They got Miami, the Bills, the Jets, and the Steelers, which
on the road.
could be the only like real competition that's thrown at them. So they need to really focus on like win the games that you're supposed to win at this point of the year.
Yeah.
And like, let's get it done.
And they didn't do that in the beginning of the season. And it's like,
They sure didn't.
And they should care, and they do care about seeding, and having that number one seed is so huge in the NFL, where you have to play 2 home games to make the Super Bowl. Like that is choice.
Right.
That is ideal,
And the teams ahead of you are doing their part. Like the Chiefs have kind of fallen off a little bit. The Chargers are still strong.
Other than that LA game.
Sure, but like
we'll get to the Chiefs.
We sure will. They're not undefeated anymore, right? And the Chargers have like played well. The Texans are playing well, but it's not like these teams are juggernauts that
there's no
aren't going to lose something
force, for sure.
Yeah. All right, let's turn attention to a not so winning team, the Bruins. Since we last spoke, things have not really improved for them. They beat the Islanders in a shootout. That was the one bright spot. They then lost to Detroit and Florida. That's brutal.
The Florida game was atrocious.
Yeah. Oh, damn it.
Good word.
Yeah. They actually got shut out by the Panthers, which was embarrassing to say the least.
5-0.
Yeah.
Blech.
Yeah. Choke. At practice on Wednesday, Cassidy focused on the power play, getting the team to play looser and faster. I like that term. One strange side story is that defenseman Charlie McAvoy has been skating in practice, but hasn't made it back to gameplay, which is a little weird. I saw him in a defensive pairing for tonight.
Oh, he's in tonight.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Because they keep saying that he's going to be back, and then he keeps not showing up on the ice. So I don't know what's going on there, but that's something weird to keep an eye on. The Bruins stayed in Florida this week because they're going to be playing Tampa Bay Thursday night, tonight as we're recording. They then see Toronto, Ottawa, and Phoenix, meaning that they're going to play 4 games in 6 days, which is that's a brutal stretch.
And
for
it's
them.
like, including Tampa, it's like road home, you were saying?
Yeah, so there's just like no rest for the weary in that case. Also, in a gross and funny moment from this week, actually against the Islanders, former Bruin, Johnny Boychuk, lended a helping hand and picked up Krejci's tooth off the ice after a hard hit and then brought it over to the bench and gave it to someone. And I heard Bruins players talking about it after, and they were like, yeah, we didn't know what he had, but like, that's
Imagine
fucking weird.
Handed
That's so gross.
It wasn't the only thing that would have made this story more perfect is if Johnny Boychuk delivered the hit, which he did not.
He didn't. No, he didn't.
It would have been so awesome though to just like croak someone and then literally pick their teeth up off the ground.
I don't know. Maybe that makes it worse that he didn't deliver the hit, because like if you delivered the hit, you might have known you knocked his teeth out. Like
True.
He's just like skating around the ice, and when you watch him, he's like doing a slow circle, and then
he's
like
looking for it.
He like looks down and is like, ooh. Like, picks it up like it's a prize, or he's the tooth fairy or something weird.
Yeah, hands it to Kevin Miller. He's like, you're gonna want to take this down the tunnel.
Yeah, give it back. Maybe they can pop it in.
Put it on some ice.
Oh, gross.
Anyway, so that was the Bruins. They're gonna have we may be recording next week in a real different sort of state of mind with the Bruins, because that Panthers loss was the type of thing that makes you like a loss like that makes you want to like disband the team and just like not play hockey anymore, because that was such a stink bomb. It was like unbelievable.
I mean, that's kind of how they lost the first game of the season too.
True. There's been like 4 of those games.
Yeah, and that's the problem, is that it's not a one-off. They keep happening.
But that was against the defending Stanley Cup champions on their home ice as they raise a banner. This is against the Florida goddamn Panthers. Like, come on. Anyways, Celtics.
Yeah.
Bright spot.
Oh.
Celtics won.
I think it was our talk. It really turned them around.
So since I ranted and raved against whether or not Brad Stevens was a good coach, he seems to have heeded my advice and started winning games.
Yeah.
So
good work.
Celtics won both their
Good
games
job,
over
Brad.
the weekend against the shitty Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah, they
that was at home, and a half decent Minnesota team, which was on the road. Biggest piece of news coming out of the Minnesota game was the way that Gordon Hayward played. Scored 30 points off the bench on Saturday and looked like he was back mentally, physically, and in the past couple weeks. Oh no, I'm sorry. Let me just restate that. He scored 30 points on Saturday and looked like he was back mentally and also physically. Came off the bench and looked really, really good. Also, fun little moment, like post game on that game, like he was like doing like the interview and stuff, and like Gershon Yabusele and like all these fucking random Celtics came out and like did like a little baby like Gatorade dump, which was very cute.
Yeah.
I say cute because if that's what it was, it wasn't like triumphant. It was just adorable.
It felt like good team chemistry.
It did feel like good team chemistry. Where was that for the first 20 games though?
Well,
Anyways,
see, that's why they weren't winning.
they're clearly very happy for Gordon Hayward. The chemistry seemed to come after the 30 points though, not before, but I digress.
Whatever.
Anyways.
Agree to disagree.
In the past couple weeks, their schedule has slowed down quite a bit, giving them some more time off and consecutive days to rest. And this seems to have been good for the team because it gives them an opportunity to assess their health, get in some practice sessions, which is important. Not a lot of like full team practices in the NBA. And then this week, they've got the Knicks, the Bulls, and the Pelicans.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if they can keep winning, the Celtics have put themselves in a situation where like they almost need to like rip off like 12, 15 games in a row to like get back to like where they need to be or where they should be standings wise. So I don't know. We might be in that or getting close to that.
Well, let's hope. And then last team in town, the Red Sox. MLB Hot Stove has officially started. The Sox have made one move so far. In fact, it was announced today. Again,
breaking
today's
news.
Thursday.
This is as close to breaking news as we're ever
going to get. They signed October hero Nathan Eovaldi to a new 4-year, $67.5 million contract.
Big nuts, Nate.
See if he blows his elbow out in the first year. So the Sox also announced that they accepted the invitation to the White House to celebrate their World Series win, but it will be optional for the players if they want to attend or not. You want to take an over-under on how many are going to go?
Oh, it's interesting. I don't know.
Baseball's a little bit different. Like, clearly the NBA, none of them go. The NFL has had their beef, but MLB's a little different when it comes to the presidential stuff.
Yeah,
There's a lot of good old boys that play baseball.
That's true. If you look at like where a lot of MLB players are from, at least the Americans, it's Trump country. Like it's the South, it's the Midwest.
Some red states.
So like I don't know. I'd be
Not
curious.
a lot of
I'm
baseball
also
players
curious.
coming out of Dorchester.
I'm particularly curious about Cora specifically, who is like he's from Puerto Rico, from Caracas, I believe, and is like super like all about Puerto Rico. Like has given just gobs of his time and money and effort and into like recovery, hurricane relief and stuff from Maria, and obviously the way that the hurricane and the relief efforts were handled by the president of the United States left quite a bit to be desired. So like I'm curious what Cora does there, because he's also on the one side he's like very, very proud of where he's from and he's like a big advocate of Puerto Rico. On the other hand, he's like a generally classy guy, and I don't think not that those things are conflicting, but like I don't think he wants to make a political statement. I don't think he wants to put himself into like that arena, like, you know what I mean?
I think he announced he's going.
Like did he?
I think
Okay.
so. I
Good.
could be wrong on that.
I mean, I don't know. I
think
have
he said
mixed
he's gonna
feelings
go.
about it. Because it's like on the one hand, if you wanted to like, if it were any other fucking president, like the fact that Alex Cora is like the first Hispanic manager in all of Major League Baseball, I think, or something like that.
Sure.
Or no, first Puerto Rican, but not
that sounds
Hispanic,
reasonable.
but the first Puerto Rican manager in all of Major League Baseball, the first person of color to be the manager of the Boston Red Sox. Like you would want to go to the fucking White House and
Yeah,
take the
of course.
president's hand.
Yeah.
But the president took a big steaming dump all over your fucking home state,
Right.
territory,
Yeah.
island. And like, I don't know. What do you do there? Tough.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, like you go for the photo op opportunity to do it, and because like you're the leader of the team, and he probably does not want to make it like a political thing, and he doesn't want to have to like talk about it and make it a media question to answer. So I think he's going.
Yeah. Cool. All right.
Anyway.
Well, speaking of issues that are somewhat outside of the world of sports, a big headline this week was Kansas City Chiefs running back, Kareem Hunt. You may know him as the guy who just absolutely fucking slayed the Patriots in week 1 last year. He led the NFL in rushing last year. He's off to a great start this year.
He also completely just slayed a lady in the hallway of a hotel/apartment complex that he lives in Cleveland.
There was no murder just taking place. But yeah, he was, I don't know if he was charged with assault. He was accused of assault.
Yeah, she filed a police report.
Okay, so charged.
Sure.
And then the Kansas City Chiefs apparently did nothing about it. And then a video came out, courtesy of TMZ, of the
As
altercation
always.
from the hallway of the hotel, where there was a series of pushes between Kareem Hunt and the woman who was accusing him of this act, which we can all see in plain daylight now that the video's out. the sort of real twisting of the knife, metaphorically speaking, because there are no knives. Second
Thank
knife
God.
metaphor we've thrown this so far between the slaying and this is there was a moment where she like there's just a big scuffle. It's a whole lot of people if you haven't seen the video. And the woman falls. And it's not really clear whether it's like a direct result of something Kareem Hunt did or whether it was just like a general sort of scrum.
Yeah.
But while she's on the ground, he kind of kicks her.
Yeah. She's
And
like
it's-
clearly woozy. She kneels back down.
Yeah, she's either woozy or like injured, like legs. Like she like
Yeah.
stands up and then like kneels back down.
Yeah.
She seems a little wobbly to say the least. She's also fucking wearing high heels.
Right.
And is
And-
in a fist fight. So
Right.
like, you know. So yeah, just generally bad luck. The Chiefs then release him and away we go. So it's brought up a whole bunch of questions about this. Also, just to back up a little bit,
Yeah.
the previous week, the Redskins signed, I think he's a safety, Reuben Foster, who had
Yeah.
just been dropped by the 49ers after he was accused of some sort of domestic assault incident. And so it just brings about the question within the NFL and really in sports in general, but the NFL has had some really high profile instances of this where it's like what do they do? My big question is like, okay, you clearly have a huge, you meaning the NFL, like the NFL clearly has a huge problem with employing a bunch of domestic abusers. When these incidents come out, they have a pattern now of behavior of trying their best to like willfully ignore these incidents or like go out of their way to sweep them under the rug. And they it just causes like a giant PR issue for the league.
Right.
You know, like, so those things are clear now at this point. Like I guess my big question is like, what the fuck do they do about it? Like if you were made commissioner of the NFL, like what do you do?
First of all, that would be amazing. Yeah, I think.
Would it be? Right now it sort of suck, but anyways,
I don't
I'm
know.
sure you'd be embraced with open arms just because your name's not Roger Goodell.
Exactly. And I'm a woman. I just
That's
feel like
accurate.
I would get a lot of street cred
Capital.
for that. Yeah. What are they going to do to me? I think that they have to be more aggressive about pursuing these issues. And the reason that the NFL keeps going wrong is because they refuse to be the ones to like break the story, essentially. They're allowing these third-party media outlets to find the story, and then they get lumped in with like the bad guy side of things.
Mhm.
You can't control every action that every player takes. There's like 2,000 NFL players. Like you can't be accountable for what all of them do. But when you find out that they did something or they might have done something, I would look into it a little bit more. I wouldn't just like be like, well, he said he didn't do it. So
Right.
like,
And that's
okay,
the thing where
off
it's like
we go.
there's like a difference between an actual, you know, turning over of stones to try to get to the bottom of the story versus saying like,
Right.
hey, Kareem, could you come in here a minute? Hey, man. So sorta got a phone call from the Kansas City police saying that you got like in a little altercation on Saturday. Like, what's the deal? Like, oh, nothing really happened, man. It was just like, you know, me and my girlfriend or whatever, just like yelling at each other. No big deal. All right, man. Cool.
Thanks.
See you Sunday.
Thanks, bro.
You know what I mean? Like, so like that is just like a totally superficial thing that like, yeah, it's clear that like the teams need to take this much more seriously when it happens.
Yeah. And you know, I
Because
get,
that's not like the NFL. Like, that's not like the league
Sure.
brass. Like that's like the Kansas City Chiefs, you know?
well, but the league knew about it too. And they chose not to question Kareem Hunt. And I guess the reason is like, well, what was he going to say that he didn't say to the Chiefs? Like, well, I get why the Chiefs believed him. It's in their financial best interest
In
to
competitive
believe
best interest.
him.
Yeah, yeah. In
right?
every way, their best interest, other than like, you know, if you think they have some sort of moral compass that they're worried about preserving, which they obviously
I don't think that's part
but
of
yeah,
the
in
equation.
every other more tangible measure,
Right.
it's in all of their best interest to keep
It's
Kareem Hunt
not
in uniform.
It's not financially advantageous for the NFL to keep these things under wraps. Like it gives them a bad name.
I have a question about that.
Yeah.
Is it though? Like, is it not? Like, where's the proof that? I mean, we know that like the NFL would be motivated if this was hitting their bottom line, and I agree that it's a massive PR hit that makes them look like, at best, total buffoons, and
Yeah.
at worst, like actively sweeping under the rug real legitimate cases of domestic violence. Has it hurt their bottom line though?
I mean, I guess not, or they probably would change the way they're doing things.
I like that's my biggest sort of like concern with like my faith in whether they're going to actually do anything. It's like I don't think they're seeing it bear out in their bottom line, and therefore I don't think they give a shit.
Yeah, I mean, you know, obviously it's it's not having an impact, or they probably would change their tactic to things.
Yeah.
I just wonder, like, they go out there and they try to talk about, like, we know that participation at younger ages for football is declining.
Mm-hmm.
And like their whole campaign around like why kids should play football is because it like teaches them responsibility and it teaches them teamwork and it makes them accountable to something and they learn to work hard. And it's like,
LOL to the accountability part. But
well, exactly. But that's exactly it. Like, okay, so that's your whole campaign to this younger generation that's like not playing football, not super interested in football. And then here's the story that's breaking. And
Yeah.
like the two don't line up.
Right.
Like, oh, you're teaching kids about like being a good person and like how being a part of a team is so important. And then, homeboy's out kicking girls in a hallway and like, we're just like, well, as long as no one knows about it, I guess it's okay. We don't need to talk about it anymore.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's in those that campaign, I think is really, it's for parents to, it's telling parents like, we love football, right? Like you love football. We love football. It's good for all these
We all
reasons.
watch
Like
football
we should all
and we
be
love it.
into it. And it's also a little bit of a PR thing to make it appear as if the NFL cares about player safety, which
Sure,
they
they
obviously don't. But
They
like,
sure don't.
yeah, this is a bad one. Like this, I definitely don't think the league, whether it hits them financially or not, enjoys being at the forefront of these like, it's not political, but
No.
like it's
Controversial.
I mean, it's a being part of a conversation that has nothing to do with football, whether that's anthem, kneeling,
Oh, yeah.
or domestic violence issues, or the concussion stuff, which is obviously more closely related to like what actually transpires on the field. But like, I don't think any NFL owner or Roger Goodell, if you like gave him the truth serum, or even not, if you just ask him straight up, like, is it good?
Yeah,
Do you
off
enjoy
the
like
record.
talking about this sort
Right.
of stuff? Like, do you enjoy having to deal with these things? Like, he would obviously say no,
Of course.
but like, yeah, it appears to me like the NFL's sort of MO in times like this is to do as little as possible
Yeah.
and just keep playing football and like keep moving forward and just hope that the world that we live in, which there's a new headline every day and
Right.
like it'll just pass and everyone will forget about
Yeah.
it.
Ignore and deflect.
Yeah.
I just think like
Which is gross. Like that sucks. Like
Yeah.
that's a shitty thing to do. Like to be to be clear, like I'm just saying that that's what they have done and I think that's what they will continue to do. But like, ugh.
it also proves the league hasn't learned anything. It's because when
When did we say peek
Ray
behind
Rice.
the curtain? Melissa and I just rewatched the Kareem Hunt video and the Ray Rice video from how many years ago?
4.
Long time.
Yeah, I can't believe that was 4 years ago. I wonder if that woman has recovered from her concussion yet. Probably not. But they haven't learned anything because this is exactly the same way that this happened. Like, oh, hey Ray, did you like hit your fiance? Maybe a little. Oh, that's not good. You shouldn't do that.
So
two
games for that.
And then video comes out and it's like, oh, dude.
And it's the most brutal fucking thing
you
you've ever
didn't
seen.
just like give her a little
Believe me,
slap.
we just rewatched it.
and it still makes you like cringe.
Oh yeah, it's awful.
It's way worse than the Kareem Hunt video in a lot of ways. Like no one should hit a woman. Period. End of story. No one should hit anyone. Frankly. Period. End of
for
story.
sure.
But
It's not
it's
on the
bad.
same level.
It's not on the same
It's not
level.
on the same level.
and but it's like
They look similar in the sense that they're both surveillance videos from hotels near elevators. You know?
sure they have that in common.
But the Ray Rice thing is in a different league
Yeah.
of awfulness.
And then the TMZ Sports breaks the video, and now all of a sudden they're like, well, that's way worse than we thought it was.
Yeah.
So like we're gonna have to give you more games.
So in the case of Ray Rice, he went from 2 games to 8 games and eventually missed the whole
That's it.
season.
Yeah.
Because I think it was midseason anyways. And in the case of Kareem Hunt, he went from no punishment to dropped
yeah,
in that same period of time. My opinion, honestly, like I think the NFL is in a place where they need to adopt a flat punishment for any accusation of domestic violence, period. Like I honestly, like I think that's where they are, like what they would. So like, okay.
any accusation.
Yeah, I think so. Any we can put it this way.
Credible.
Any credible accusation at the discretion of the
Sure,
the
yeah.
commissioner would be who it would be, I would imagine.
Yeah.
But like they would obviously have to like collectively bargain this and whatever. But like I honestly think it would be like if you get credibly accused of domestic violence, you get 4 games,
Mm-hmm.
quarter of a season, done. Like we're not the police. and we're not going to ban you from the league or kill the rest of your season, or for that matter, we're not going to give you this like sliding scale punishment
Right.
based on the degree
How
of
bad we think it
severity,
is.
the degree of publicity, i.e. whether there's a video of it. Like, I think the league just needs to say, you know what? We're tired of all these people fucking smacking around their wives and girlfriends. If you do that, you're getting 4 games. I don't care if you're fucking Tom Brady or like Joe Blow, who's
Right.
like on the practice squad. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, but I think also the NFL needs to do more due diligence to prove the credibility of the accusation. Then I think they can't let TMZ go out there and keep buying these videos and being the ones to put them out there. Like, you have money. If it costs $2,000 to get the video, go get the video. Go to the hotel, get the video, and like find out what happened so that you can accurately assess the situation.
Yeah, but that to me comes back to like again, like that's why I feel like it would like, because they're not the cops, right? Like they're not going to like independently investigate every accusation that comes around. But like, you know,
No, they have more money and resources than the police.
True. This is, but like but that's also not like their job. Like they have they're like a gigantic corporation that like has a primary objective to like make football happen every Sunday.
Sure.
But like, I just think, I'm not saying that like if we roll back the clock like 20 years, let's say it's like the year 2000 and we're like drafting a CBA and we're
Jesus.
dealing with domestic violence or something like that. And I'm drunk because I'm 20. No, I'm just kidding. And so that wouldn't have been my plan then. But like the 4-game, flat fee is my response to how poorly they've handled these things over the last 5 to 7 years.
Yeah.
And like their negligence. Now I feel like they have to swing hard in the other direction to be able to like compensate. Like a more sort of well thought out solution, I feel like, is somewhere in between. But I think they're just at a point now where they need to show people that
they need to have a zero
we're
tolerance
doing
policy.
something about this. Like, but we're not
That's
banning people. Like, we're not going to just
Sure.
ban Kareem Hunt for doing that, video or no video.
Right.
But
so you take that out of the equation.
If that happened, Kareem Hunt, first of all, if that happened and there was no video, we wouldn't even have known about it. But like, let's say he was accused, he says he didn't do it, girl says he does do it. Okay, you're not going to like take his job away because of that. But now there's a video, so now he loses it. Like, that whole thing is just like bullshit to me. Like the degree of publicity is what drives the NFL's decision making more than the degree of severity of the act or any other factor. It's about whether there's photo or video evidence and whether it can get on like CNN. And if it does, then you're really fucked. Then you're done. Because like,
right.
who's
then
going to
you
pick
get
up
like
Kareem
the
Hunt
ultimate punishment. Well, yeah, because now he's like,
Actually, that's a good question. Do you think he'll play again in the league?
yeah.
Yeah, me too.
I think he's young. He's really young, like 23 or something. He's like a baby.
Yeah, I mean, last year was his rookie season.
So
Unlike Ray Rice, who was more or less
back
over the hill,
half of his career.
definitely back 9. He may have had 1 or maybe max 2
Yeah, maybe.
decent years left. So it was easy for the NFL and all the teams to walk away from Ray Rice.
Yeah, because I think what happens right now is it's like a hot story, right? Like this tape came out. There's 2 more incidents that have since come out. So this happened in February, one from January, one from June, maybe.
Oh, I didn't realize this was from February.
Oh, yeah,
I didn't
it's
realize it was that old.
Oh, it's a long time ago.
Oh shit.
Yeah, that's
important.
Well,
The people need to know about this.
it's what makes it like extra. To your point, like it's what makes the publicity is leading to the punishment now. Because like the NFL and the team had plenty of time to find out what actually happened, and they could have probably handled it in the off season had they done some due diligence, where it would have been way less of a story. It would have been way less of a story if they had gotten that video in early March. They talk about it. They suspend him for the first 4 games of the season, and then like everyone's kind of forgotten about it.
Yeah.
By then, you bring it out in the middle of the season, and now the Chiefs are cutting him. He's probably going to get suspended for, I don't know, all of next year.
Yeah,
And
if
come
he
back in
comes back,
2020.
he might have to serve a suspension if he does come back.
Yeah, and that might be all of next year.
And to be clear too, like he deserved some amount of that because like it's a bad thing that he did.
Yes.
But like you shouldn't be punished based on whether or not there's video. You should be punished based on what it is that you actually did. And I'm not trying to minimize what Kareem Hunt did, but again, like the comparable is Ray Rice, and like that's and the comparable isn't only Ray Rice. There's tons.
Yeah. Reuben
volumes
Foster,
of
Greg
stories
Hardy.
of NFL players doing horrible, awful things to all sorts of different types of people. Your children, your wife, your girlfriend, some stranger, your fucking, partner in crime if you're Aaron Hernandez. Like there's like tons and tons of awful, awful things.
Yeah.
And like, I don't care to rank them, but if I was to rank them, this thing that Kareem Hunt did would not be near the top. I
Yeah,
don't know.
it
It just
wouldn't.
wouldn't. Like, call me a fucking asshole for saying that if you want, but like, watch the video
Okay.
and then like read up on what
Yeah.
Greg Hardy did to his girlfriend,
yeah.
and then tell me where they rank. Ranking them, not an enjoyable experience, but like,
Not something that you're.
we call it what
Maybe.
you call a force rank.
Yeah.
we call that in the corporate world. We call that a force rank.
Yeah, it's not ideal
Anyways.
situation. Yeah, I think it goes to like, and you kind of brought up like Aaron Hernandez, and like this same week Browner was just convicted.
Brandon Browner, former Patriots cornerback, convicted of attempted murder.
Yeah, so he's just an unsuccessful murderer. Like, okay, so he gets 8 years for that. Like, okay, you get 8 years for being shitty at murder. Like, that's not fair. You should get still murder charges. Like, I don't get that at all. That's neither here nor there. That's about the criminal justice. That's a whole other podcast. But like, it sucks. So it's like they have these massive problems with some of these players. And I think it kind of sucks if you're like a good guy that plays football and like you could be a cool role model for kids and like you don't get any attention because you're just like normal nice guy. And like, who cares about that guy?
Where's the story leading the news cycle about Patrick Chung helping an old woman walk across the street and carrying her groceries?
Yeah.
One time I was walking in the mall. Actually, I don't know why I just thought of Patrick Chung, but I was walking in the mall and I dropped something and Patrick Chung picked it up and he was like, "Hey, man." And I was like, "Huh?" And he handed it to me.
Was it one of those moments where you like didn't recognize it was him when it happened?
I pretty much recognized him right off the bat.
Oh, really?
But yeah,
I don't think I would have. That's like an out of context situation where I would have been like, how do I know that guy? I wonder if he yelled at me at work one time.
So
And I would have been skittish about it.
Point of that story is that it's plausible that Patrick Chung would help an old lady across the
Yeah,
street.
he seems like a decent gentleman.
And those are the types of stories we should be highlighting.
Right,
But here
we
we
don't.
are.
We hear about Chandler Jones hopped up on like PCP, turning himself into the Foxborough Police
True
Department.
story. I forgot about that too.
Yeah,
Damn.
there's all sorts of good shit that comes out, and it's like
That one also not so bad.
not so bad in comparison. Definitely not so
Certainly
bad.
not. Way down there. That's way down
Yeah, I
there.
mean, when you compare it to like the
That's in
Aaron
like
Hernandez
Ricky
situation.
Williams territory.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
the guy just likes to smoke pot.
Yeah. He's got a shitty friend that gave him some bad weed. That's not his fault.
Yeah,
He
seriously.
didn't do anything. He fucking drove himself to the police station.
True story.
I just think it's like the NFL needs to find a way to change the narrative around this. And I think the way they change the narrative is to take control of it.
Yeah, and again, like my opinion would just be like you say, hey, anybody that's accused is getting this at this point, and
Mhm.
like we understand that
Yeah.
may negatively impact some innocent people, but like that's why it's a 4-gamer, and like then you're back.
Right.
Maybe there's an appeals process. I don't know. I'm not a fucking lawyer, and I'm not a labor lawyer, even if I was a lawyer. But like they can hammer this out.
There's a way.
Because the other thing is, when they do have the next CBA, whenever that's going to be the
Mhm.
collective bargaining agreement, and like that's happens every however many years, and you always hear about whether or not there's going to be a lockout, whatever. Like,
Yeah.
if you're the like head of the Players Association, are you really gonna let the headline be NFL locked out because Players Association refuses to get punished for domestic violence? Like that would
Well,
be a
yeah.
strange hill to die on. I'm not saying that the players would support that, but like you're not like you can't possibly take that stance publicly, can
Well,
you?
and if you were the majority of the players who don't do these things,
The vast majority of players you
You
gotta
would
believe
be
are
like-
not doing this. Yes.
yeah, I want that too. I'm sick of the headline being like NFL player suspended, NFL player charged with murder, NFL player caught drunk driving, and like,
Yeah. And I mean,
fuck, dude, like I'm
the-
just Philip Rivers trying to have my nice kid over here. I just want someone to be a good role model for them.
yeah, I'm Antonio Cromartie. I've got 16 kids. Like I'm trying to find a role model. Like, I don't see any in this locker room. But but the thing is it's not gonna it's not gonna actually reduce the crimes. Like the crimes or
No.
instances, whatever you want to call them.
Sure.
Like no, they're crimes. It's not gonna reduce
It is
the
a crime.
crimes.
It is a crime.
And-
Yeah, assault is a crime.
Yeah. But what it will do is it doesn't solve the domestic violence problem. Like I don't have a solution for that.
No.
What it does solve is the PR problem that
Right.
the NFL has,
Which is all the NFL
appearing
can
to
control.
be again like at best total idiots.
Yeah.
Fumbling around with how to deal with stuff like this, and at worst, like willfully participating in like cover-ups of events that make their star
Yeah.
players look bad. So, what are you gonna
Anyway,
do?
good news for the Patriots that Kareem Hunt's gone from the Chiefs, though.
Seriously,
I
last
feel like a real dick saying
was
that, but I
like-
was like, well, that's not the worst thing that's happened to the Patriots this year.
it's so funny how that stuff seems to happen. It was like all around the same time last week. It was like the Steelers lose in horrific fashion at
Oh,
home after
God.
committing 3 penalties
I have a lightning round question
consecutively
about that.
on a
Yeah.
game-winning field goal,
Brutal.
and the fucking Chiefs lose their star running back,
Yeah.
and you're just like, oh, okay, good
But
week for the Pats. Good
It,
week for the
like
Pats.
taking an abrupt left and talking about how it relates to the Patriots. It is that like luck of the Patriots that like this shit just seems to happen for them. Like, okay, so two of your biggest competition in the league had like that Steelers loss was a real morale killer.
Totally.
And Kareem Hunt being kicked off the team is like, check. Like,
Yeah.
good for us, I guess. It's bizarre that shitty things like this happen to other teams, and it happens to help the Patriots like every fucking time.
Yeah, and the Patriots aren't immune to it, but like they
No,
are
obviously not.
Yeah. I mean, we were just talking before we recorded about the recent Gladiator podcast from the Globe.
Yeah.
That was
Big
all
plug
about
for
Aaron
that.
Hernandez.
If you haven't listened to it, it's great. You should definitely check it out. You will feel bad, confused.
It's just a compelling
You'll hate
story.
everybody in
I mean,
it.
like it's weird because we're still pretty close to it.
Yeah.
But like it's a thought-provoking and interesting thing to hear the whole story.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to say cradle to grave because that's like kind of morbid, but
It kind of is that though. It's interesting
that's
too
the
because
term that you use. It's not my fault.
it's not done by sports reporters. It's done by the Spotlight team.
And Holler, who's a
Sure, who
Sport
like
reporter.
kind of MCs the whole thing, but like the investigative part was the Spotlight
Right,
team,
right,
who
right.
is like notorious for breaking big stories and
Mhm.
like having these.
not getting subverted
Pieces.
by TMZ.
Yeah, they don't get undercut. Yeah, they got that whole Catholic Church thing just locked up.
Yeah, totally. All right. You feel okay about that?
That was very
Feel like
heavy.
you got all your takes off your chest?
Yeah.
Shall we get to the lightning round?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. All right. Lightning round time. First question
do
is
it.
not really a question, but it's a take brought to us by Dan and Concord.
Hey, this is Dan from Concord. Real impressive win by the Patriots. Jimmy Devlin, baby, 2 touchdowns. Gotta love the fullback. The Patriots can make a run here in the playoffs. I like the fact that they can run the ball and have been D'ing it up real solid. J.C. Jackson, another one of those undrafted guys coming out of nowhere in the Pats secondary. I think we were watching a well-rounded football team that's starting to find its stride. Thanks, guys.
So I've got a take on this.
Okay, go ahead.
I agree that they're a well-rounded football team,
Yeah,
but it's like, so I was at that game, the Minnesota game, and I'll tell you,
humble brag.
it felt like I was on the road in Minnesota watching them play. Because if they were on the road in that game, you would have come away from it saying that was a great road game. They like managed time of possession. They ran the ball a ton. They played really stout defense, and they got out of there with the win. Like if they were on the road, you would have said perfect road win, not sexy, but did what you needed to do. Great. But like the well-roundedness thing is like, that's true because in Patriots land, we were used to seeing really lopsided teams with really good offenses and pretty average to poor defenses. And the defense is good on this team. Like I think they actually have a good defense and they're playing
It's coming
well.
together.
And it seems to be coming together.
Stephon Gilmore, number one corner in the league right
Number
now.
one ranked corner. Yeah, totally. And
Look at me with my facts.
totally. And the offense has taken a step back. I mean, I don't think it's really. It seems pretty clear that they're not on par with the offenses we've seen in the past from the
Sure,
Patriots.
yeah.
But you could look at that and say, like, okay, well, step back in one department and step up in the other is like, yeah, I mean, that's a well-rounded football team.
Yeah.
It would be nice if the offense could have stayed at the level they were at last year and like the year before and the year before that, and the defense then step up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
But
Yeah,
what
you
are
don't
you
want
gonna
to
do?
see one come down for the other
exactly.
to go up.
Like, but
It
by
kinda-
calling it well-rounded is a nice way to put it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's very nice positioning of
Right, right.
how they're playing. Yeah, I think it is good to see the defense. We kind of talked about this last week when we talked about that Kansas City
The LA game?
Charger? Yeah, LA.
The big shootout.
Yeah,
Monday Night
yeah,
Football
that big
game? Yeah.
blowout. And we were like, oh, well, how could the Patriots survive in that? And it's like, well, their defense wouldn't have.
And your take basically was like they
Yeah.
won't have to because
Right, that
they're
won't
A,
happen.
smart and won't commit that many turnovers, and B, their defense is better than those teams.
Right, is more solid than those teams. And I think that holds true. And we saw that in that Vikings game. It like got close a little bit there, you know, particularly around the halftime.
Yeah,
into
right before
third
the half,
quarter.
it was
But, you know, they pulled it together and came through. And I thought, like, it was a strong, solid win for them because the Vikings were, like, a genuine competitor.
yeah, and they
in
were
that
like
game.
6-4 or something like that. Their record wasn't really that scary, but they're
Yeah, but they're a
talented as
better
hell.
team than
like
that.
their roster is really good.
Yeah.
And like the Patriots defense made them a non-factor.
Yeah.
All right,
Anyway.
where are we?
I got one for you.
Oh, perfect.
This is a fun one. The NHL announced it was bringing a franchise to Seattle this week. They'll begin playing in the 2021-2022 season. Any thoughts on what they should name the team? And then that's the fun part. And then second to that is, do you think hockey needs/can handle more franchises? Because that brings them to 32.
Good question. So starting with the name thing, it seems like the Seattle Totems, Seattle Emeralds, Seattle Rainiers, and Seattle Sockeyes.
Sockeyes?
I don't know what the fuck that shit is.
That reminds me of like a hand puppet.
Probably some sort of indigenous bird or something.
I don't like
that.
it.
I don't know. But those are the sort of leaders in the clubhouse for the names. I think Rainiers would be sick. Mount Rainier is like the big ass mountain in Seattle.
I got it. I heard people petitioning to bring back the Whalers.
That would be interesting.
Like make them the Seattle Whalers.
That would be interesting. But I don't think my problem with the expansion isn't. I mean, I think Seattle totally is going to be a great NHL city. It's a good sports city, anyways. Like they fucking go nuts for the Seahawks. They are reasonably into the Mariners, I think, and they are pissed that the Supersonics went to Oklahoma City.
They sure were.
So I think the franchise will do very well. They also love that soccer team, Seattle Sounders, I think it is.
Yeah.
Like they're like huge into fucking MLS. But anyways, so I think Seattle's going to be a good NHL city. I wish they moved one of the crap. Like, why don't we move the fucking Coyotes there or something?
That's exactly what I
or
thought
the
too.
Panthers, or like one of these crap ass like
fucking
below the
Sunshine,
Mason-Dixon line teams.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's obviously like it's not that easy because you got to like convince that ownership group to leave as opposed to just getting a new ownership. And it was imbalanced because since the Knights, you now have 31, so it makes sense that you make 32. But I'm psyched. I think it's gonna be cool.
Yeah, they'll have a good rivalry with Vancouver too. Right
Fuck
there
yeah.
over the border. And I agree. I think Seattle was a great choice for a city to put a hockey team.
Mm-hmm.
But like you, I was like, why don't we move some of these shitty southern teams up to like, where people play and understand hockey?
Yeah, move them to places where the ponds freeze in the winter.
Yeah.
And
They've
then you've
seen
got-
ice before.
Then you've got a fucking team on your hands.
Yeah.
I'm excited though. That should be fun.
Yeah.
Okay, one for you.
Yeah.
The Green Bay Packers this week fired their head coach, Mike McCarthy, after the
Shocking
Packers
move.
have had a pretty bad season.
Yeah.
They're in the middle of it, but it's pretty bad. It's first coach in Packers history to be fired midseason.
Oh, wow. Good fun fact.
There's obviously plenty of rumors swirling around about who's going to take over this job. One of the names that you hear floating around these conversations is Patriots offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels. So my question, Melissa, is if you were McDaniels, would you be interested? And if you were the Packers, would you want Josh as your head coach?
If I were McDaniels, hell yeah, I'd be interested. That's a great gig. You got Aaron Rodgers.
Is it?
Yeah. It's a good football city.
Is it?
I would take it.
Oh, it's a good football city.
Yeah. So it's not like, oh, your team's bad and you're not going to sell out the stadium. Like, you're not going to worry about that. You're always going to play in front of a full crowd.
Of course.
Right. You get Aaron Rodgers, who, like, arguably is, like, not the Aaron Rodgers that he was 5 years ago, but, like, he's still good. You could coach him up a little bit.
If he
wants to be coached.
Yeah, if he's playing for a coach that he likes, because you're starting to hear stories now about like the degree. Talk about fucking like palace intrigue, like we were talking about over the Patriots offseason between a rift between coach and quarterback. Like you're hearing some stuff between there. Like they literally wouldn't talk.
Yeah, they
like,
just
the
ignored
backup,
each other.
The backup quarterback was like the go between the head coach of the team and the quarterback. Like,
Like
that's
the translator.
brutal. That's bad.
Yeah. The flip side, though, if I were the Packers, I wouldn't want McDaniels because you're gonna need your next head coach with your I don't know what their GM situation is because they're like fucking weird.
They
owned by the city.
They do have a owned by the city. This is a publicly traded situation. They have a GM. They don't have a proper owner, but there's this one guy who's like the majority or at least like the largest stakeholder who's like sort of the voice of ownership, quote unquote.
Okay.
But I think they do have a regular old GM.
Well, because they're going to need to draft the next quarterback, and that hasn't necessarily been McDaniel's strength.
He did draft Tim Tebow.
He sure did. So I don't know that I would look to him as the person that's going to like successfully build our future. I think if you already thought you had the future quarterback there, he could be the right guy to like build him up.
But I mean, Aaron Rodgers is going to be like a really good quarterback for the next at least 5 seasons, assuming
you think
health.
it's 5 seasons in him?
He's not that old.
Yeah, but he gets hurt kind of a lot.
True. Yeah.
So I would be nervous about that. And like, is he deteriorating faster than
Interesting.
like a Tom Brady type? And I don't think McDaniels is the guy to pick the next guy.
Gotcha. But do you think in the win now, if they're in win now mode, would Josh McDaniels be your guy? Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think so. He doesn't have a great track record of
Sure doesn't.
being like the guy. He's never been able to do it without Tom Brady.
But Aaron Rodgers
And-
is a pretty good. I mean, if you're gonna have anybody else,
Sure, I guess. Yeah.
you know,
And the fucking shit he pulled in Indianapolis, I'd be nervous about signing him.
true.
I'd be like, how do I know you're not just gonna back out on me again? But I've heard crazy shit like people are turning down college football jobs because they want to be on McDaniel's staff when he goes to Green Bay. And I'm like, what are you doing?
See, if I was Josh, I wouldn't want to go to Green Bay
Why?
because
Too cold?
I'd want to get a fresh start somewhere. Because if you go to Green Bay, their expectations are extremely high, as they should be, because they
Sure.
have like a great quarterback, which is the hardest thing to come by in all of fucking sports. And so, like, I feel like you can really, it's either win a fucking Super Bowl or more, or you're a failure. You know,
So what
versus
would you do,
if
like
he
the
takes
Cleveland?
over the Browns,
Yeah.
let's say, who
Baker
think they might have
Mayfield.
something going with Baker Mayfield. There's a whole wide variety of outcomes that could be seen as positive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's more paths to success. Where I feel like when you're in Green Bay, like they're like, you got to win a Super Bowl, at least one Super Bowl here now with this quarterback, with this team, like in the next 3 to 5 years.
Mhm.
You have to, or else it's a failure. Like it just is.
Yeah, but I think like similar to, you were just talking about like Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback, and it's like, so could he help make you look good for a season or two?
Also true.
And then it buys you a little cred to like stick around. Whereas like if you suck in Cleveland, they're blaming you, not Baker Mayfield, and like you're out the door again.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
And
I just
now
feel
you
like
look
it's
like, oh, you failed in Denver, you backed out at Indy, you failed in Cleveland, where it's like you could go to Green Bay and have
and be
a
good.
couple winning seasons,
Yeah.
get to the playoffs. Aaron Rodgers is probably going to play hard for you for as long as he can because he hated Mike McCarthy so much. And it's like, all right, you don't have a bad thing going.
Yeah, I guess in the eyes of Packers fans, you might be a failure, but I suppose in the eyes of the rest of the league
Right.
and in your viability as a coach and as a career, then you wouldn't be seen as a
Right. As far
failure
as like getting another
if
job.
you just like got them to the, you know.
If you get fired in year 4 coaching Green Bay, I think you would be considered more successful than if you got fired in year 2 coaching the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
Okay. I got another question for you.
Cool.
We mentioned in the opening about Charlie McAvoy being seen skating during practice, but not being out on the ice for games.
Right.
Do you think that there is a problem with his health, first of all? Like, do you think there's a legitimate reason why he's not out on the ice? Or do you think he is kind of like, well, I'm not 100%. I'm only 95. And like, I'm refusing to come back until I'm 100%.
So the last time he played for the Bruins was October 18th.
Yeah.
And it's now December
5th.
5th. So that's a long time. And it was a
6th.
concussion.
Whatever.
6th. Oh, you said it so confidently.
I know.
And it's going to be the 7th by the time people hear this.
Whatever. It's early December.
So
Fuck off, everybody.
He's been out with a concussion, and it's not really clear like when it even happened. Like no one even knows. Like it wasn't like a singular hit. He just like had the symptoms, I guess.
Sure.
So my concern with Charlie McAvoy, I don't actually mind if he's being like extra cautious around the concussion thing. He also has like this like heart condition that was like something last year, I remember. But like, and then he had like a knee injury at the end of last season. So whatever. I actually don't mind if he's being extra cautious about his health.
Yeah.
What I do mind is he's going to be a restricted free agent next year and then a free agent the year after that. And like, if he is not on the ice that much, it puts the Bruins in a really weird position because if he's as good as we think he's going to be and he plays, then like easy decision. You throw a bunch of money at Charlie McAvoy and you have a franchise defenseman for the next fucking 10 years or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if he's kind of like, ooh, like, is this guy like kind of glass jawed? Like, what's the deal? I don't know. It just puts the Bruins in a weird position of like, should they or shouldn't they sign him? Because he's going to command like $7, $8, $9 million a year, which in the NHL is like huge.
I know.
That like
Crazy.
Steve Pierce wipes his ass with
I
fucking
know.
$5 million, but
Stupid.
that's like among the highest paid defensemen in the league. So I don't know. It makes me nervous just for like long term. Like I'd like for him to come back right now because like I could be on the fucking Bruins starting roster as a defenseman right
Seriously.
now. But as far as like, it doesn't actually bother me like personally. Like if I were him, like I'm not so sure I would do anything different. Like you should be concerned about your health and again, like he's going to be lining up that next big contract. So
Wow.
he wants to make sure when he plays, he's good, you know?
Well, and that's 100% what I think it is that because he's getting ready for a contract year, right? He wants to make sure that like his stats look great.
Yeah,
and
when
if
you
you're
see the
playing at
film, it's good film.
85, 90%, you're not going to be great. And like it gives teams leverage to hold against you. Whereas it would be really hard for a team to hold against you like, oh, I was injured, so I didn't play. Like, yeah, I was injured. I was hurt. You can't, and especially where it's a concussion thing, because like you can't fucking force people back from that. Like the whole Mark Savard thing, like we know what an impact concussions can have on like a person's life.
Yeah,
not
you
just
also
their
can't,
career.
You also can't see the symptoms. Like a
Right.
doctor can't like clear you.
Right. It's not like a knee where it's like your tendon's healed, dude. You're like, you're good to go.
Like, this fucking doctor says that you're good. So why are you not?
Why
good?
are you not playing? And so I do think that maybe he's a little like, well, I'm not getting back out there because I don't want it to impact my bottom line a year from now or 2 years from now when I'm fully a free agent if I don't sign with the Bruins next year.
Which is like good for him, as he like that's what he should do.
Sure.
But like
It's not a hockey player mentality. though.
I hope that I just hope that like when he comes back, he's able to stay healthy and play and be good for the
Yeah.
Bruins, because I want it to be a Bruin. Like I'm not just a Charlie McAvoy fan. I don't know what, you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
like
Right. You're not cheering
I
for
want
Charlie
him
McAvoy.
to not only get a big contract, but I want it to be from us.
Yeah.
Like I want him
Right.
to be on this team, not just any team.
You're not going to
So-
cheer for him if he's on the Flyers?
No, I certainly
okay.
won't. So I just hope that like, it doesn't go on so long that it actually puts in jeopardy the Bruins' interest. If they're saying
Mm-hmm.
like, we're only going to give you like $5 or $6 million, he's like, fuck you, I want 8 or 9 and I can get it elsewhere.
Yeah.
Like that would really suck.
We'll see what happens.
Okay, I have one last question for you that's going to be really lightning-ish.
Oh, okay.
Are the Celtics fixed?
No.
Okay. I don't think so either.
I'm
Well,
not
who's coming up this week? Knicks, Bulls, Pelicans?
Yeah.
What if they win all 3? So they will have won 5 in a row in that case.
Ooh, that would feel better. I would be more optimistic next week, but I would still say no. Because you need to see it long term. I want to see like Hayward having success out of the starting lineup again, if that's where he's going to play. Yeah, and I think you made this point earlier, and I agree. Like, I think they need to rip off like 12 in a row, and then I'd be like, okay, this is the team that we expected to see.
Yeah, if we come back next week and they've won these 3 games, which they should, like
Yeah.
the Knicks and the Bulls are trash and the Pelicans are fine, but like they should win those games.
Yes.
And if we come back and they've won 5 in a row, and it's like, all right, then I feel a little bit
I
better.
feel better. But
And
they have
if they can then win, 11 out of 12 or something like
Sure.
that, like they gotta do that.
And they got to beat some good teams.
True.
Like, they need to, beat Toronto.
But what's interesting about the struggles they've had is like they
Beat
sort
the
of
good
have
teams.
been
Yeah.
decent against the good team. They haven't played that many of them, but
Yeah.
like I think they beat Philly. They went and they're split with Toronto. Like I don't know. They've been like it's been the trash teams that they haven't gotten their heads out of their ass
that's
against.
i.e. the Knicks. They lost to them earlier this season.
For sure.
So
All right. Well, cool.
All right.
This was fun.
this was great. We had lots of thoughts this week. Next week, we will either be singing the Bruins' praises or digging their grave.
Panicking. Yeah.
Yeah. Panic in the streets.
Same is also true for the Celtics too. Like they're both
Sure
kind
could
of
be.
in this
Yeah.
not teetering necessarily, but like the Celtics seem like they're stepping out of a hole, and the Bruins seem like they might be stepping into one.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Deeper and deeper they go.
And the Patriots will probably be division champs yet again.
Knock on wood. Let's hope so.
Well,
Fucking
very cool.
Dolphins.
Follow us on Twitter.
Yeah. At Titletown Pod.
And give us a call if you got a hot take. Talking to you, Dan, the Dolphins fan. 904-87-TT-POD
Yeah.
is the number. And we look forward to hearing your takes next week.
Bye.
Later.